everyone, and welcome to not our last, but our second to last episode of Three People in a Blanket Fort talking about Star Wars. My name is Eddie Boyce.
I'm Shaner.
And I'm Holly Boyce.
Wow, we actually did a legit intro that time. We should have done that from the get-go. That's fine.
Wait, have we not been doing that?
No, we have never introduced ourselves. Or maybe the first time, but...
Wow.
This is like our impromptu show.
To be fair, if you're listening to like the 9th episode of the Star Wars, our Star Wars series, and you don't know who we are by this point, that just seems like your problem.
We have barely ever said our names, so maybe it's our problem that they don't know by the 9th episode.
Well, we said it in the first one, and if you're listening to the Star Wars ones and not like history and hypotheticals, that's just your problem.
True, I agree. Alrighty then. So, movie. You know what it is. The last mainstay Star Wars movie. The Rise of Skywalker. I mean, where do we even begin with this?
A great movie.
Great.
I agree with what my friend commented on our Facebook page. Shout out to Jared, who has a Star Wars themed podcast. This movie is underrated and overhated.
Bro. So Jared, that's his name. Yeah, Jared, I'm gonna call you out specifically. You and Shaner, you guys like get together and have your bad taste on another podcast. This podcast is for only slightly controversial takes. That's our show.
Wait, okay, so my take is not controversial?
No, yours is. I said slightly controversial. Yours is controversial.
Oh, okay, I got it.
Saying Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, so this is the show where we can say we can talk about Kylo Ren's chest and giant, creatures with milking apparatus, but I can't say I like the Rise of Skywalker.
The milk monster.
Literally 1984. It's 1984 on this podcast.
It's too much, Shader. Can't do it. Okay. So, fellas. Where do we start? So we've gotten your overall thoughts, Shaner. You think it's a great movie. Holly, your general thoughts before we jump
Holly loves it. I don't even need to hear her thoughts.
I did not hate it, but I also did not love it. I put it somewhere in the middle.
Hey, spoilers. You can't say that
That's
yet.
better of an opinion than I expected from you, so I'll take it.
It was better than the
let's
last
hear
one.
Eddie's
That's the best I can
wrong
say.
opinion.
It was better than the last one.
This movie, I'm not going to say because I don't want to ruin my rating, but I do not like this movie. I do not like it.
He does not
I'm going to
like
say
it.
the third time. I do not like this movie. Okay, we can continue on.
Wait, I'm lost here. So you do like it? That's what I got out of that. Maybe I heard wrong.
I'm pretty sure the second 2 times he said it canceled out the first time he said it. So.
Yeah, 2 negatives make a positive.
I said it 3 times.
Say it one more time.
No. So let's jump into for me was like the big moment, the first big moment of this movie, which was the opening dialogue where you find out Palpatine's back. Ooh, he's back.
Yeah, that's great. It's a great plot point.
You like that plot. You like Palpatine being in this movie.
I love Palpatine in general, so the fact that they brought him back makes me happy.
I mean, I liked Palpatine, like, in the concept of Palpatine too. But, like, he died.
He's
dead. He got chucked down. Darth Maul... I can't even say
Darth
that.
Maul is alive. Thank you.
Okay, but he's not in the movie,
guess who else
so
got chucked down a chute? Yes, he was. He was in Solo. Guess who else got chucked down a chute? Huh? Little guy named Luke Skywalker. You ever hear of him?
Okay, he fell down a chute after getting his butt chucked, but okay.
Same difference. He fell down a chute.
Kylo Ren in this movie. He fell down like a cliff.
What?
Yeah, everyone falls down chutes sometimes, Eddie. It's fine.
What is with this series and people surviving astronomical heights? I don't understand why
It's Star Wars, Eddie. You can just suspend your belief.
it doesn't suspend my belief when it happens the third time, and I'm like, he's gonna be alive. Like, I know he was.
And he's
chucked
like,
down.
all the lightsabers, the Force, just spaceships that advance. I can deal with that, but a guy surviving a fall down a chute. Well,
it's
that's
not
it.
just a shoot.
Ruin the
it's
franchise.
Like
that's
stories.
it.
It's like a building height. It's huge.
No one said he hit a bottom.
Oh, he just continuously fell.
He has the Force.
All right,
He
whatever.
can stop himself. It's proven.
He did a couple flips and landed on his feet like a cat.
Lost
And
all of
also, I
his
think we
lives.
talked about that's not even the original Palpatine.
What do you mean?
That's a clone.
Yeah.
So it doesn't even matter if he'd survived the fall of the chute or not, which he could have. He was a clone of Palpatine. It doesn't matter.
I forgot about that plot point. I forgot that he was.
And
a
don't
clone.
tell me cloning isn't a valid point. Mr. Attack of the Clones is my favorite prequel.
He's got a point there.
Okay, since we're talking about, cloning, how do we feel about Snoke being a clone? Let's just throw that out there.
That was okay. That's one of my issues with this movie is the whole Snoke thing.
Yeah.
Kind of goes nowhere.
Yeah, why were there a bunch of Snokes in, like...
He was a clone.
Like, I know he was a clone, but...
Now,
It
the
was just
reason why
heads.
he would need a clone is a good point. I can understand why he would make Snoke in the first place, but no, I don't get why he'd have multiple.
And it was just... Wasn't it just heads in that thing?
Something like that, yeah.
No, they were like full bodies.
Were they?
They just weren't fully grown yet.
Alright.
Yeah.
They weren't fully grown except their heads.
It was the backups.
The,
Yeah, the backups in case something went wrong.
the backup boys.
And they
Something
didn't have to
did
use
go wrong,
backup.
and he didn't bring out the backups.
Yeah, well, they didn't need the backups because he died properly. And, you save your homework, and just in case.
Oh,
You need it in the
so
future.
Eddie's defending this movie now, which I can appreciate.
No, I'm being sarcastic. I hate that he's a clone. Screw this movie and clones. Anyways.
No, what's wrong with him being a clone? Here's what I'm saying. Palpatine's been manipulating since episode 7, but he can't come out and do it himself because everyone would get way too suspicious. So he builds a guy that can do it for him and manipulates through him to get Kylo Ren to, start bringing everything together for him.
It wouldn't be terrible if they had any sort of hint that it was him in the first place. It just...
Why did they need a hint? It was meant to be a reveal.
It came
Eddie.
out of nowhere. And then they just revealed it right in the beginning of the movie. Like, it wasn't a reveal. It was
it's
like,
called a plot
okay,
twist.
I guess he's here now. Like...
It's called a plot twist, Eddie.
I felt like it slapped me in the face and not in the nice way. Wait.
Wait,
We're gonna...
what?
we're gonna move on from that.
Am I
That's
missing?
nice
Am I
way.
missing something here?
Anyways, zombie
He
ships.
prefers to get slapped by the milk monster. That's the nice way.
That's an image I needed.
Okay, I deserve that one. Moving on. Zombie ships. Essentially. The fleet.
What
With
are
the
you
Death
talking
Star
about?
guns.
They're not zombie ships.
That's what they feel like. They're
Where do you
rising
get
out of the
zombie
ground
ships
like
from?
skeletons or something.
Oh yeah, okay, I guess. I was
They-
like, what
Aren't
about
they
them
already
scream
in the
zombie
sky
to you?
when they get...
No, in the beginning they go and like rise out
Yeah,
of the
they do
ground.
breach out of the ground in the beginning, and then they start rising out of the clouds later on.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's kind of like I feel two different ways about those ships. On the one hand, it seems kind of like everything you wanted as a child in a bad way, like, oh, all my spaceships have Death Star guns on them.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, from a practical point of view, it's like, yeah, if you have the technology to build Death Star guns, why are you building space stations out of them?
Right.
Just put them on cruisers.
Yeah.
True.
More efficient way. For
Yeah,
sure.
so it's just kind of like it feels weird when you first watch it, but then you kind of think, oh yeah, you know what? If you've got this ready to go, just make it efficient. Stop building giant, expensive battle stations that blow up every time you do it.
Mm-hmm. I agree. How do we feel about? So that's kind of like the beginning, and then we kind of, at this point, I'm realizing, dang, this is a really fast-paced movie. Like they really jump through those beginning scenes real fast. We're going all over the place. How did you guys feel about the pacing of this movie?
I don't think it went too fast. I think it kept me invested and it didn't feel like it slowed down, which is a good thing.
Sure, I agree. I mean, the pacing was like really harsh in the beginning, but like then it kind of slows down a little bit and it gets better. So I was fine with it. I just know people that had a problem with it. Did you have a problem with it?
No, I don't think so.
Cool. Good talk, guys. So then we jump into the rebels, and there's a spy among the Empire, which we'll get to later. And then, they get back to the planet that is basically Endor, but it's not Endor.
Yeah, Endor 2.0.
Yeah, Endor 2.0, except without the Ewoks. And we see Rose is back.
Barely.
She died. Like, what's she doing here?
Well, we never saw her actually die. We just assumed.
She didn't die.
I
Did I
mean, we
miss
saw
something?
her, like, remember she said something sweet or whatever and when she was in that ship?
Yeah, they went bleh.
And then kind of, like, passed out and everyone thought she died.
Yeah, I thought
I
she
don't
died.
remember. I just remember her like ramming Poe's ship out of the way so he doesn't, or Finn's ship out of the way so he doesn't kill himself.
Right, and then Finn went and talked with her, and she had this moment where she said something, and then I guess she passed out. But everyone thought she died.
Yeah, like
I never was under the impression that she was dead.
Wow.
I must have missed that.
she was never with the escape group. Like we never see Poe drag her out.
Yeah.
How did she
never
get
see
back?
her after that.
You don't see a lot of things. Okay, that's one of my problems with this movie is everyone's like, well, you missed this detail. And I'm like, you don't have to see everything. If she's on the rebel base, obviously she escaped.
Okay, they made her look like she died.
Yeah.
I feel like it would be pretty important to show them taking her out and...
Again, it's based in interpretation, though, because I just thought you passed out.
Good for you, I guess.
See, it's all based on interpretation.
I don't see how you don't watch that and think that she died, that she did.
I'll have to go back and rewatch it again just to make sure, but...
Okay, yeah, sure.
She said something about fighting for the people that you love, and then she, like...
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that part.
And it was like those last words or whatever. Anyway.
Mm-hmm. So how do we feel about the main cast in general in this movie? Rey's a big topic, so we're going to kind of leave her for later, I feel. But how do we feel? Like, what are some good things? What are the terrible things you don't like? Do we want to go by character, or do we just want to spitball things?
I just would like to say that C-3PO was great in this movie.
C-3PO was great in this
movie.
Probably my favorite character.
Fantastic addition.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, C-3PO was
He just had great lines, great quips the entire time.
For sure. For real. How do we feel about our buddy old pal Poe?
I think he was really fun in this movie. It gave him more of a personality. I mean, not that he didn't have one before, but he kind of was like the comedic relief in this one, I would say.
Yeah, they kind of kept
kind of like the Han Solo.
Yeah, they kept up with his very not brash way of acting, but like his I can't think of the word.
Ollie, I saw that look. I'm
this.
not saying he is as good as Han Solo. I'm saying he is the Han Solo of this series.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but distinct differences. This guy he's not a Solo kind of person.
No.
But anyway, he likes to have other people around him and going with him on these adventures of his, these dangerous decisions.
I thought the interactions between the cast were really funny this time around. Like they actually felt like they had good dialogue and everything put together. I like the way I like the
they didn't
crew.
feel forced or weird like they did in the other movie.
And it's weird to finally see Poe and Rey interacting in any way at all, because they didn't meet till right at the end of Last Jedi.
Oh,
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, so that it's just odd to see. It's not a bad thing because I think they have some funny dialogue about, between her dropping a tree on BB-8 and him almost wrecking the Falcon.
Yeah, that's funny.
Mm-hmm. For real. Now, at this point, Princess Leia... Sorry, not Princess Leia. The actor of Princess Leia is dead, right? So they had to, do CGI, pull some voice thingamajigs from the past.
Wasn't it partway through the movie, though?
Maybe. I don't know exactly.
I think it was... I don't think she filmed anything new for this movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so everything was either pulled off of deleted scenes, and I think for some of the body stuff, they may have used her daughter as, a stand-in. But yeah, I don't think she filmed any new scenes for this movie.
Okay.
But still handled, effectively, I think.
Yeah. I mean, she played a small role, but it was a good role, and I didn't really notice much CGI other than, certain points. So I am okay with how they handled her.
I didn't like when they went back in time to young Leia. It didn't even look like Leia.
Really? I thought they did a fantastic job in that scene.
I don't think so. It didn't look enough like her that if I had seen the person outside of context, I don't think I would have thought, that's Leia. Especially with the helmet on and no space buns. Of course, that's not the problem. The problem is that they should have made her face more recognizable without, it was almost like there was a filter or something, and it didn't quite look...
Yeah,
obviously it was
called
CGI.
the Uncanny Valley. It's like Tarkin in Rogue One. It's kind of like, how close can you make it before it's unrecognizable?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Yeah. So they're on Endor 2.0, and they go... I sure wrote the premise down, but I did not...
I want to talk about this scene, though. Because this is one of my the whole meeting they have on Endor 2.0.
Yeah.
Because this is one of my biggest gripes with complaints about this movie, is everyone quotes the one line, somehow Palpatine returned, as bad writing. It's not bad writing. There is no reason Poe should know how Palpatine returned at that point. He doesn't need to say, oh, Palpatine returned through black magic. He doesn't know. That's not his area of expertise. All he knows is that Palpatine's back. And it's not bad writing. It's in-universe explanation that Poe has no idea. He's a pilot / what is he, a general in this movie?
Eventually, toward the end, yeah.
I didn't have any problem with that line.
That's one of the big things I've seen people complain about, and they are like, oh, Disney had the worst writing for the sequels. And it's always that line, which has always bugged me, because they didn't have to, put a reason in there, because he shouldn't know. That's my little side rant.
Okay. I want this noted. Before I say what I want to say, I want this noted. Shaner, I agree with you.
Whoa.
I know.
Write it down. What time is it? 11 o'clock.
That line is exactly how I felt about the situation at that moment. So, I mean, it captured perfectly what I thought. And I think your point about that is correct. Because I felt the same exact way. So, I agree with you. Now,
wow, I thought I was going to have to argue uphill on that one. So
I'm going to take it a step further, actually. So, later in the movie, excuse me, when they are coming up with a plan to take out Palpatine and confront the zombie ships on Exilor.
That sounds right.
That sounds right. Exilor. I think they know too much information because none of them have been there before. Where'd they get all this information from? I feel like they should have been more in the dark about what they were getting into. How they know how to take out the ships. No one's been there before.
And that's fair.
Yeah. I mean, I think at that point, are you talking about the reason they destroyed them or how to take out a basic Star Destroyer?
So,
I don't think...
There's the scene before, I think Rey's there and they haven't left. They're still in Endor and they're all gathered around in rebel fashion, and Poe and Finn are laying out the details. I'm like, okay, here's where we're going to attack. There's this array that we got to blow up because they can't take off without it, and make sure this and that because this is going to have... They know all this stuff about this place, and it's like they haven't been there.
Okay, yeah.
Where'd they get this information from?
I think it's like they knew there had to be a signal generator, right? Like something putting out the signal. They knew there had to be one. They just didn't know where it was going to be, and I think it was something.
Oh yeah, because they did say that you can't put ships through through the atmosphere without one of those.
Well, they did, but how would they know that about the atmosphere? No one knew about this planet until
that's just like a
15 minutes
basic
before.
fact.
About
on any
atmospheres
planet.
in general.
What? No,
They didn't state it as like just this planet. It was like in general, to get ships out of atmosphere, you have to have one of these.
Yeah.
Atmosphere is atmosphere. It no matter what I think it's made out of,
Okay.
shouldn't matter.
I was under the impression that they had Exilor the Sith had to have that array because specifically for this type of atmosphere, that was my impression.
No, I think it's just like in general to get a ship that big out of the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Okay. Well then, you know what? Never mind. I take that back. Unless it is true and they had to have that specific array, in which case, I don't agree with that choice. Anyways.
I really, just another general comment, I really liked the way that they wrote Rey for this one.
Oh, are we jumping into Rey right now? Is that what we're doing?
I mean, we don't have to. But I think they really dove into her personality and how uncontrolled she is with everything, and she noticed that and decided like it wouldn't be good for her to have the lightsaber. Then of course she took it back when she realized she needed to go to leave and everything and do the missions. But it was kind of cool to see that she continued to have this uncontrol about how she fights and her emotions and all this stuff, which would be in line with her starting training so late in her life compared like with everything that we've heard in past movies. So I think that it was a good consistent character development.
True. Well, I have a whole tirade about Rey in this film. Would you like to say anything about Rey, Shana, before I go off?
Let me think real quick. I don't think there are any major problems with her character in this movie. I don't have a problem with her being a Palpatine. I wouldn't have a problem with her being anything else, really. But, it makes for an interesting plot point. I don't have a whole lot to say on it. I just don't think it's the big negative thing that everyone thinks it is. But I see that look in your eyes, so...
Yeah, I don't have a problem with her being a Palpatine. I don't think they really needed Palpatine to come back in order for that to be a big, cool reveal. But that's the way they decided to do it, so... But I have no problem
Eddie,
with her
why
being
don't you
a
enlighten
Palpatine.
us?
My main problem with this film, and this includes Rey in this, so this is why I'm bringing this up. My main problem with this film is that I feel like there's too much of a Marvel influence on this film. I feel like Disney saw the success of Marvel, decided to incorporate some of the attributes of that, and put it into this movie. And I think they especially put it into Rey's character. Now, I agree with Holly's point that Rey is to be shown as an emotional character, so of course she's going to fight this way. Okay?
Just passionate, not emotional.
Okay, passionate. Sure, passionate. Okay? However, she is like that throughout the entire film. What is something that we have been taught that Jedi are? They are not so emotionalist, that being carried away by emotion is a Sith thing, for the most part.
Leads you to the dark side.
Yes, leads you to the dark side. And Rey, throughout this entire film, does nothing but that, being passionate and letting her emotions.
That was the point of the movie.
Yeah, no, that was the point, because she's now struggling with this idea that she's meant to be on the dark side, and
that's why she fights the dark side version of herself.
And
like
she doesn't
an hour
have
later.
the control
I get
because
that.
she hasn't trained in the way of the Force, and not even that, but like, okay, she's got the books of the training, but she's never really completed any real Jedi training other than some stuff under Leia. So she's never dealt with, she's never had that struggle for peace and all of the qualities of a Jedi, and she's never, been taught about the struggle in a way where she's actually connecting to that yet. So she's dealing with the struggle on the go, so to speak.
And anytime she had a struggle emotionally, it was like a jarring emotion, whether it was Chewbacca being kidnapped or dealing with Ben and all the mess that comes with that.
Every time.
Dealing with finding out she was a Palpatine. It wasn't just like, I'm just emotional because I want to be.
No,
Every time it was.
And it always ended with an accidental evil, kind of. An accidental mistake that it led to a potential disaster because she never learned to the true way of the Jedi. Like with the ship, she thought she killed Chewie, and dropping the tree on BB-8, and just all that kind of stuff.
Yes, I agree. And I'm not saying she shouldn't feel anything because of all those events. What I'm trying to get at is kind of what you said. She has no training. She is being passionate. So wouldn't she be easily turned to the dark side because of her lack of training, because of her already passionate nature? I mean, look at Anakin. He was a freaking fully trained Jedi. And, like, he should have been, like, known to ward off these things. And yet he was still led on. Rey's got nothing. It should have been easy to, like, pull her to the dark side.
Rey
you know?
Rey
I
also
think
doesn't have the same type of physical in-person weakness that Anakin did with his wife and the dreams he was having.
Okay, and I just want to say, to match this point of, like, why Rey didn't so easily go to the dark side, like Holly said, she didn't have that physical, like, person bringing her there, didn't have a physical person who she needed to be there for. And also, Rey had only heard legends about dark and light side, and to her, dark side was like so black and white evil that she hadn't even considered it. Whereas Anakin was kind of raised dark side is evil, but he was in the middle of it, if you know what I mean.
And all the while, he was seeing bad traits coming from the Jedi who he was taught to.
Yeah, and he'd seen
good,
so many.
Right? So.
Yeah, so whereas Rey's kind of point of view was just from legends and
evil,
stories of good and evil. Yeah, so that's why I'd say another reason she wasn't so easily swayed, because like the first time Luke asks her about the Force, her answer is, it's a power that helps Jedi move things with their minds and make people do stuff, which is an answer like a child would give after having watched Star Wars. So she's kind of really new to this, but all she knows is that Jedi good, Sith bad, don't be Sith. And she doesn't realize any of the nuances that could, reason with her.
Okay, I'm going to counteract your point of she didn't have any reason to be pulled to the dark side. Kylo Ren, because obviously they have the feels for each other.
Okay, that is one plot point that I argued against so much before this movie.
Yeah.
There was another student at Waynesburg, and I think we had one of the comm classes together, and we argued back and forth on this for I think a whole semester, and then Rise of Skywalker came out over the summer, and I bumped into her randomly at school the next semester, and I was like, fine, you were right, they were a couple. Yeah, good job.
Yeah, no, back then it was cousins or couple.
Yeah, I was on the cousins side of things.
So was I.
It should have been cousins.
They
should never be a couple. It makes me so angry. Sorry, I had that in me. I had to get that out.
Wow. Eddie has strong opinions on this.
Why did they kiss? There was no reason.
No, they had been building it up.
To the dark side.
They had been building it up since the second movie, but you could take it either way, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, what about the whole thing with Poe? Like, is that a love triangle? Like, Poe was also in the mix, too. Like, we were getting mixed signals. She's a Jedi, though, so she shouldn't have feel it. Well, I mean, she shouldn't allow those feelings to come through. It's just an emotional mess, this film. I don't like it.
I don't remember Poe being in the mix for liking Rey.
Oh, yeah, well, in the Rise of Skywalker, she's like, Rey, I gotta tell you something. And then they went down on the same.
You mean Finn.
Sorry, Finn. I'm sorry.
Finn.
Did I say
Okay.
Poe? I'm sorry, I meant Finn.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I was really
Finn.
confused, but I was with you, but I was also a little confused.
Sorry, I meant Finn. I got lost in my rage. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Finn is one of those characters that really suffered from this movie, and that's another big criticism from this film, and I can see that.
Same.
His character did suffer as opposed to the last two, but that was kind of a byproduct of having a lot going on.
Yeah. But anyways, back to my original point, which we made before we got off the sidetrack. This movie's got too much of Marvel in it, Okay.
Yeah, would you like to elaborate on that? Because I have
Yeah.
no idea what you're trying to say.
So, kind of Rey's emotionality is kind of there. Like in Marvel films, superheroes are often fueled by their emotion on something. Like it doesn't become serious, and they don't get maxed out powerful until they're emotional about something, or they have a
Yeah,
reason
as in
to be
real life,
emotional.
we're all just emotionless
Well,
robots
right.
going through our
I'm not
daily
saying
lives.
it's wrong.
He said right.
I wait. Gosh darn it! So this is where my brain's at. We're all tired here, folks. We're coming to you live at 11:30 at night. It's late on a Tuesday.
On a Tuesday.
You are right in the fact that yes, I'm not saying they're wrong. Like these obviously like emotions work like that. Like we should be driven by our emotions. Jedi, however, are not, and I see parallels with how Rey acts in this film, as opposed akin to like a superhero. They're treating her like a superhero in this film.
I would disagree with you.
My
The
next
whole
point,
thing about emotions has been a
Sorry.
plot point since like the original trilogy.
No, I get, but again, emotion, dark side, controlled emotion, light side. That's always been the thing.
What is the point to be made that the Jedi were almost, I'm not going to say abusive to their their trainees by having them stifle their emotions, but it's
and
often been brought up
from their parents.
yeah, that the Jedi weren't always correct, and that maybe completely stifling your emotions and not letting people feel anything is maybe what led Anakin to the dark side. So just because a couple Jedi in a couple movies said you can't have emotions does not necessarily mean that should be the Jedi way.
Fair. That is fair. Although I would argue that the fact that they took Anakin so young, he was able to make attachments, and so the reason why he was pulled to the dark side was because the Jedi didn't treat him. He wasn't a traditional student, is my point. But that's besides the point. How you view the Jedi, I guess, is how you view this.
So old.
Old, sorry, so old. Yes. Thank you guys for correcting me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're on a roll here, Eddie.
I'm on a roll here. I'll get off my high horse with the rage in this Marvel thing. Just let me finish.
Wait, if you're making that... Oh, okay, sorry. I'm letting you finish.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
The whole scene where they're in the desert and Rey's trying to pull down the spacecraft and like Kylo Ren's fighting and then she accidentally shoots out lightning. That's another example of this Marvel-itis thing that's going on. These things are learned, not, oops, I found a power that I have.
Okay, but I think it's pretty clear that it's a dark side power. And
That's an advanced thing. Palpatine's
totally
the only
had, like,
person that does. Well,
dark
okay,
side feelings when she did that, and I think it keeps with the point that she's not exactly doing the right thing with her mental focus.
Right.
Oh, Eddie, wait. Who else did that?
Dooku.
No. Who is the main person who uses Force
Yes,
lightning?
Palpatine. Yes, I know.
Oh,
Palpatine.
what is Rey?
A Palpatine. Yes, I know.
A Palpatine?
Okay, she's a Palpatine. But it's a Darth.
That's a coincidence.
It's two people other than Rey before this have shown that they can do it. Both of them are high-end, extremely dedicated and experienced Jedi. Dooku and Palpatine.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just do these things. You have to be learned.
Just because they did it,
be taught them.
Okay, here's my counterpoint to that. Besides Dooku and Sidious, Palpatine, whatever.
Oh yeah.
How many other Sith did you see in the movies?
Altogether?
Not counting Vader. Vader was not great with Force powers.
What? Okay.
It's cybernetics. It's a whole thing.
Fair.
That's an
okay.
actual
So
point.
there's Darth Maul.
Yes.
Dooku.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously Sidious.
Right. Go ahead.
Are we counting Solo?
What?
Sorry, let me rephrase. Are we counting anything outside of like the trilogies?
You mean the other two movies?
Yeah, sure.
I'm talking about in terms of how do I put this nicely? What you've seen, because I know you haven't watched Clone Wars.
Okay.
So go on.
Well,
How
that's
many
the other thing.
Sith?
There's a bunch of other like Jedi people in Clone Wars. Oh, General Grievous. There's another one.
He's not a Sith. He was a Separatist. He was never a Sith. he had some training from Dooku,
He was
but
still
he
an
was all
apprentice of
cybernetic.
Dooku.
He couldn't use the Force.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you're not a Sith.
I'm talking. Fine. Let me specify. Force-sensitive Sith. How many did you see in the movies?
Okay.
So far, you've listed 3.
I would also like to point out that Rey has, in the previous 2 movies, been able to do things that.
Yeah, we're not going to rehash that point.
Well, it's the same point. Like, okay, if she can do it in those movies, why can't she do it in this movie? It's consistent, is it not?
But I want Eddie to finish my point.
Okay. So Darth Maul,
Yeah.
Dooku, we won't count
Yeah.
Grievous. Obviously Palpatine. I don't know why I don't want to count Vader, but sure, why not? And then Snoke. So 5.
Snoke wasn't a Sith.
Oh, come on. He was Force sensitive.
He was a clone of
who?
Palpatine.
Who's
He was
a
cloned
Sith?
from Palpatine. Yeah, but so we can call him Palpatine safely.
Okay, what's your point? What are you trying to
My
get at?
point is that your experience of who can use Force lightning is based on 3 Force-wielding Sith.
Okay.
No, it's
Just
based
because-
on 9 movies.
Just because you saw 2 Sith who happen to be powerful using Force lightning does not mean it's an ultra high level power.
I think we can deduce that from process
you?
of elimination.
Okay, but
From
so,
the
Alright.
3
so is,
Sith you've seen,
so is using force powers to make someone do whatever you want without even looking at them.
Okay, but that's not in the movies.
okay, so let's
What?
okay,
Yes, it
so
is. It's in the movies, not this one. Remember? Right?
Clearly not, because my brain's shot. I need a little kick in the brain.
Okay, is Rey descended from a clone version? That's what we. That's.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's like Darth
Okay.
Sidious's son, but like, did he marry?
Okay,
But he
you
knows he's gonna be
never
close?
know.
I don't know.
I mean, there was a lot going on with Palpatine that we don't know before he became ugly and old. So everyone's like, "Oh, who had a baby with Palpatine?" You got to remember, he was Sheev Palpatine before he was ugly Darth Sidious.
I don't have a problem with all the things I have an issue with this film. I don't have a problem with that. Sure, whatever.
So I'm just saying, just because you saw 2 high-level Sith using Force lightning does not mean it's a Force-sensitive power or a high-level Force power.
I think it is. If you have only 2 people in the entire universes who are the top of the line and the rest of them haven't, I think you can confidently say
And by the
that
rest, you mean
a higher
1?
level Sith move. Huh?
Just because the one other Sith in the movie didn't use Force lightning.
No, there's Darth Maul again, Vader,
1. We talked about
and
this.
Snoke. Those are 3.
Snoke is Palpatine.
Right, and he never used lightning. What does that say about Snoke? He wasn't trained well enough. Or
He
something
didn't
like that.
have to. When did Snoke have to use lightning?
He could have at any point.
Why though? Why would he? Why? What reason did he have to use lightning?
To kill Rey, to kill Kylo Ren.
He didn't want to kill Rey. He wanted to bring Rey under his
Okay, then kill
control.
Kylo Ren. You gotta kill
He
Kylo
didn't
Ren.
want to kill Kylo Ren either. Kylo Ren was his apprentice.
Well, toward the end, like when he's like,
He
The
died
point is-
right before.
The point is, there is no evidence that the other Sith that did not display lightning powers didn't have the ability.
Eddie, do you
to
know how
display
many
lightning
Sith
powers.
there are in the Star Wars canon outside of what you've seen?
yes, there's a lot, and there's a lot that I don't
100,000.
know. There's a lot I don't know about. I understand that.
I'm just saying, it's like if you only watched episodes 4, 5, and 6, and you're like, wow, Ben Kenobi, the Jedi, used the Force mind trick. That must be a high, powerful one.
Okay,
When in
that's
reality-
not true because you literally see almost every Jedi use it. Okay, that's different. Obi-Wan uses it. Anakin uses it. Rey uses it. I think Samuel L. Jackson uses it.
Right. But
Like everyone
I'm saying,
uses it. I don't think it's that
But
hard
I'm
of a thing.
saying, no, listen to me. I'm saying, based on your 9-movie experience, your idea is that because you saw these 2 guys doing it, it must be powerful. So let's say I had only watched 4, 5, 6. Okay? Keeping with me here?
I'm with you.
As a sample, in the same way you've only watched the 11 movies with Sith in them, is the same way if I'd only watched 4, 5, 6, and I only saw Ben Kenobi, who's made out to be this all-powerful Jedi who has a Force ghost and all this do a Jedi mind trick, I could say, yeah, that's, you know, that's an ultra powerful Jedi skill that only the most elite Jedi who've studied and become old can do. But in reality, every Jedi's doing it.
I would like to argue, though, that every time Force Lightning has been used, it's been played up in the movies as a very powerful ability.
Thank you. Thank you. Take that, Shaver.
Got nothing.
It's a powerful ability. That doesn't mean you have to be powerful to use it.
What?
Hey, Eddie, okay, I'm going to invite you over. I'm going to have you stand at the end of my room. I'm going to shoot a pistol at you, and then I'm going to shoot a grenade launcher at you.
Okay, but
Just
do you
because
know how
it's
to
more
use a grenade
powerful?
launcher? Do you know how to use a grenade launcher?
My finger works.
He'll push the wrong
You have to
button,
learn how
and
to
it'll
load it.
fire
You have to learn how to
backwards.
turn the safety off.
Yeah, but I don't have to have 30 years of experience to know how to use it.
No, but you need some year. Okay. It's not. My point is, it's not as simple as I'm angry. Oops.
How do
That's
you
my
know?
point.
How
I
do
don't-
you know?
But she was
I-
really.
All right, I'll leave my point, but that's the Marvel. Yeah, I think they.
I
Marvelized Rey
disagree
too
with your
much.
point, but
Hey, that's
I
fine.
don't
You're
think
allowed
we're
to
gonna get
disagree,
anywhere.
but that's what I see. Right. What are some points that you guys would like to bring up? I've kind of dominated the conversation here. Shaner,
I already
you go
talked
first.
about my dislike of the hate for the somehow Palpatine returned line. I thought this movie had some great visuals. You can at least agree on that,
Yeah.
Eddie.
Yeah, that looks great. Yeah.
Whether or not you like the whole Kylo and Rey can interact when they're not in the same room, that fight scene was done really well in terms of the choreography and the way it was shot.
Cool.
Yeah.
I hate
Yeah,
that
that
too,
was
but
cool.
yes, you are right. It's really
No,
cool
I liked it.
shot scene.
I mean, at this point, we're used to Rey being able to do impossible things, so I think just kind of enjoy the chaos, and that's how I felt.
It
about
wasn't
this
Rey
movie.
doing it. This movie tells you
Yes,
it wasn't Rey
yes,
doing it.
okay.
It's not
Impossible,
their
weird,
fault.
Physical things, okay. But anyway, I liked the way that it was shot with the lightsaber, you know, switching hands and stuff behind her back and all that. I love that actually. Thought it was really cool and creative. And I actually liked the scenes between them, except for the point where he was somehow alive after falling down an extremely long pit and then brought her back to life, and then all of a sudden he was dead. So
Yeah, that scene
that was
irks me.
stupid.
That is one thing. If I had to pick out one thing I didn't like about this movie, I could say two things. One, the whole thing with the dagger magically pointing to the room on the wrecked Death Star. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I see people's complaints on that. That is pretty stupid. You can say maybe the Force knew where it was going to be. I don't care. It's dumb.
Yeah.
Thank
The
you.
more I watched it, the more I went, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
My other point is the whole scene where, like, trying to think of exactly how it went. So Kylo dies, Rey heals him, then dies, then Kylo heals her and dies. It was just a bit too back and forth for me. I'm like, it should have just been one person healed the other and we're fine. And we're
Well,
done.
she healed him earlier. That didn't all happen in one scene.
No, it happened right at the end there. Like, I know she healed him earlier, but then he died fighting Palpatine, and then she brought him back, and that drained her or whatever, and now he's alive, she's not. And
Oh,
then
yeah,
he somehow
that's
gives
true.
it back to her, and now she's alive and he's not. It's just a lot of... It's like 3 different healings. I'm like, it's fine. You could have just stuck with one.
Yes, I agree.
But I love the final fight between Palpatine's base boosted lightning, which was a great shot.
Yeah.
That was cool. I liked it.
Yeah.
And my favorite shot of the entire film, probably of the last 3 films, is the shot where Poe's flying and he gives up and he
Yep.
tilts his X-Wing up and there's like all the ships piling into the atmosphere with the music.
That's what
It's a
I was
good
going
scene.
to mention as well as probably my favorite scene.
It's such a great scene.
It's
Eddie,
very
you
good.
look like you're about to, say something negative.
No, I'm gonna. It's points I've already made before. I'm angry.
It was
inside.
a great scene. But Eddie, what's your favorite scene from this movie?
My favorite scene?
Yeah.
I can't say that. That's at the end.
We just told ours. It's the same.
Guys, we do this every single show. We have a list of our favorite
Yeah, I
character,
know,
favorite
I
moment, and something we
know.
change.
You haven't.
You
haven't
asked
been
us for our
structuring
thoughts.
this. You did.
We
So-
always do it at the... Okay, well
we
I
already
will,
did ours.
I'm going to share something positive.
Oh.
I think
Oh.
if you... well, I've already said some positive things, but I'm going to say this very positively. Overview of how I feel this movie. I think if you isolate this movie outside of any other outside of like Star Wars, outside of like the previous like 6 movies, so like if you just look at it in the context of like 7, 8, 9, I think this is a fantastic film. I think it's a really good film. Yes. Okay, maybe not fantastic. It's a good film. It's a really good film.
You can't backtrack like that. You said it was fantastic.
I am. Shut up. It's a really good film. However,
Whoa.
I think it's when you put it into the context of everything else in Star Wars, I think is where it becomes to topple. That's I will say that about the film.
Okay. Oh, I do have 2 points I want to ask your guys' opinions on.
Sure.
Because I have no strong opinions on them either way. How do we feel first about Hux being the traitor? I don't care.
Why?
It's fine.
No, okay, so that plot was way too short to be worthwhile. It was like, oh wow, he's the traitor. Oh, he's dead.
Yeah, I don't have any strong opinions on it, good or bad. It was there. And then how do we feel about
I wish
Leia's
it
death?
lasted longer, in my opinion. It would have been more meaningful if it had lasted a little longer than just he immediately was found out, you know?
Yeah, so and then how do we feel about Leia's death?
I mean, they had to do what they had to do. Like, there wasn't much they could do. Like, so you really can't fault them from what they did.
Okay, here is a confusing thing that Eddie and I were trying to figure out while we were watching, though. Because in the past, in the scene from the past, she says, the person talking is like, Leia had sensed that, said she had sensed her son's death at the end of her Jedi journey. And gave the lightsaber and whatever. But she dies first, so what?
I think by son's death she meant like Ben becoming Kylo officially. Like not a literal death.
At the end of her Jedi journey, though?
Yeah, that moment didn't really make much sense. I agree.
I'd have to go back and think about it.
We listened to it a couple times and tried to figure out if she meant his death as Ben or his death. But it probably meant his death because she didn't disappear until he did. Her body disappeared after he
I don't know. Oh wait, you just reminded me. Speaking of Ben and all that, what do we think? Another point to think about Ben's redemption scene with Han Solo's ghost showing up. I thought it was great.
I liked it. I thought it was good, and I liked the whole scenes with with Leia trying to reach her son, and once again, Rey's emotions and Rey not having control caused her to do bad thing. And she stabbed him and whatever. But then she healed him like from a wound that big, and that was a little crazy. But anyway, I liked the Han Solo ghost. That was cool. Sorry, that comment was all
Lots
over
of
the
ghosts in this
place.
Because then we get Luke ghosts too. A lot of ghosts.
There's a lot of ghosts in this film. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have the whole and I don't want to get into this unless you guys really want to, but the whole all the Sith are in me and all the Jedi are in me stuff. So
yeah, I could have gone without that. I would have rather seen all the ghost Jedi appear than her just say, "I am all the Jedi." It's like, okay,
Oh yeah,
that would
have
having
been-
the
that would have
ghosts
been
show
cool.
up behind
That would've
her
been cool.
and
a little
that would've
overkill,
been-
but pretty cool.
That would have been way cooler.
the whole movie was in a good way overkill, so I would have taken it. But I don't think it ruined the movie for me to see that.
No,
So,
I didn't even remember it.
Yeah.
but at least this movie, the one thing this movie, and I think all Star Wars movies had, if you liked them or not, The score is awesome.
Yeah.
John Williams is a national treasure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So, Eddie, favorite scene?
Yeah, do we just want to jump into the categories? Is there anything other point? I mean, there's a lot we could talk more about, but I think
we could go on for
berated
hours.
we could go on for hours.
Now is a good time to go into your scene.
Well, what about favorite character?
Well, Shana and I already did our
No,
favorite scenes.
we're doing this one at a
Oh
time.
my
Bullet
gosh.
point. Shana, favorite character, go.
Favorite character. Ooh, that's a toughie. Shit, I can't even pick the milk monster from the last movie.
I've got mine.
Yeah, go ahead and share yours, because I'm still trying to figure that out, because all the characters kind of got decent screen time in this.
I would say C-3PO. Because the entire time, he was consistently making me laugh, and it was just really good timing. It was a good script for him. And if I were to give a second, it would probably be Kylo Ren, to be honest.
Yeah, the Kylo Ren redemption arc wasn't the worst, I guess.
I liked him in this movie.
Whoa, another
it was cool to see that.
positive?
It was alright. I mean, sure. Favorite character? I'll go next, sorry. So, my favorite character in this film was the little dude that deleted C-3PO's brain. Babu Frick.
Of course.
He was the oasis that I needed in this film. I was dead, and then he came along, and he was so dumb, it made me laugh. And it just brightened up my time watching this film. So my favorite character, thank you, Babu Freak. You are technically not you're like a dumb character. His name's Babu Frick. That's his name.
Yeah, you said freak.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah, you called him a freak, dude. Not
okay,
cool.
well, he's a bit of a lame, stupid character, but he made me laugh. So
you
he gets
called
the
him
dub.
stupid too. Wow.
Wow.
He's just like
I hate.
The stupid.
No,
freak?
stupid as in like, there's no need for this to be here. Like,
And he's like, wow, he was
it's meant for
stupid and
stupid
a
humor.
freak,
He's
and
there
I
for
hated
stupid
it. But
humor.
man, my favorite character.
He's there for stupid humor. That's why he's here. If I had a serious answer, probably C-3PO, but Babu Freak is my answer.
You just called him a freak again, but whatever.
Yeah,
That's
Frick!
fine.
Babu Frick! Sorry, go ahead.
I'd probably have to go with. Shoot, it's a hard decision between Rey and Kylo because I like both of them in this movie. Probably Kylo. It was weird. It's interesting to see him become Ben there at the end.
Yeah.
And like completely change. But I did like you can see a lot of Han Solo in him once he changes, like his attitude and stuff. So, yeah, I'd go with Kylo/Ben.
Sure, that's
Nice.
fair. Favorite moment/scene?
Go, Eddie.
Babu Frick.
Oh,
Next question.
great.
That was your favorite scene?
Yep, favorite scene.
Which one? The scene of him in the ship or the scene where he deletes C-3PO?
Oh, delete C-3PO. Delete C-3PO.
All right. Well, I said my favorite scene already, but my second favorite scene is when she force hands the lightsaber to Kylo Ren.
Yeah, I already said
Okay.
my favorite scene, but if I had to pick a second one, it would be the fight on the planet in the room / on the street.
Oh, yeah, that was cool.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was a good shot. That was a good shot scene. I don't agree with what happened, but it was a well shot scene.
I mean, they already established that was the case in the last movie, so I didn't have a problem with it. Once again, I was just riding with the chaos.
It never should have been a thing in the first place. Okay, never mind. Thing that you would change. Holly.
What did I say earlier about the thing I would change? Oh yeah,
Hux.
the whole him. No, that's not it. I mean, that I would probably change that too, but mostly it was the whole ridiculous healing from death and then dying thing.
Yeah.
That was a
Good choice.
consistent theme. Like, let me heal you with my life force. Let me heal you with my life force.
Yeah, that was dumb.
Let me heal this worm with my life force.
Shaner. thing to change?
Okay. Besides just having a scene where Babu Frick gets like thrown out of a spacecraft into open space,
That would have been funny.
I'm
I would have been down for that.
no, I'm kidding because my dad will yell at me if he hears me say that. He loves Babu Frick.
Yeah, Mr. Shaner, let's go. Sorry.
Probably it may be a dumb answer. Get rid of force healing.
Yeah.
The whole thing, the worm, and I don't just mean what I complained about earlier with the back and forth, the back and forth. Just cut it out of the movie. You could cut that out of the movie and just have Rey survive. Uh, Actually, she does survive Palpatine's last assault. She only dies because she gives her life force to Ben. So as much as I don't like to complain about this movie, just take out the force healing and nothing changes.
The thing that I would change, I mean, I agree with what you two said. That needs to be changed. So I'm going to go differently. Palpatine. It should have been Snoke.
I could see that. I wouldn't have minded if it was Snoke, but I like Palpatine.
Just whole new Sith. It would have been great. All right, fam. Rankings. This is, I won't say the last time because we might do it for our last episode, which is going to be us watching Spaceballs. Kind of have like a nice ending for this series that we've had for a long time, actually.
Yeah.
So, last proper ranking for all the Star Wars films plus Solo and Rogue One. Who would like to go first?
I'll go first.
All right, go. Yeah, I'm just interested to see where you put this. But go.
Ranking from the bottom to the top in terms of like worst to best or my least favorite to my favorite. The Last Jedi, Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Force Awakens, Solo, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back.
No.
I'm not done yet.
No.
Oh gosh.
Rise of Skywalker, Return of the Jedi, Rogue One, and that makes Revenge of the Sith my king of the Star Wars movies where it belongs.
Okay. I was afraid you were going to put Skywalker right under Revenge of the Sith. And I was like,
thought as a joke, just like leaving it off and making it number one to watch you guys freak out. But then I thought, no, I'll get lost and have to redo my entire list. So, yeah.
My list. Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker is the worst Star Wars movie ever made.
No way.
Worst Star Wars movie ever made.
Nah, I don't agree with that.
It's at the bottom of my list.
No way.
So I will run through the entire thing. The Rise of Skywalker, The Last Jedi, Solo, Phantom Menace, The Force Awakens, Rogue One, Revenge of the Sith, Attack of the Clones, New Hope, Return of the Jedi, Empire Strikes Back.
I dislike your list, but I feel like I'm going to dislike Holly's more.
Our bottom is very similar, but continue, Holly.
Yeah,
wait. I realize how that came out. I'm sorry.
Proceed.
Oh my. Okay. No, my list is not actually that similar to yours anymore. It was to begin with, if I remember. But,
Yeah.
The Last Jedi for me is definitely at the bottom of my list.
Mm-hmm.
And will always be there. And then Phantom Menace, Solo, Revenge of the Sith, The Force Awakens, The Rise of Skywalker.
Wow, okay.
I put it right in the middle, pretty much. And then Attack of the Clones, Rogue One, A New Hope, The Empire Strikes Back, and I have Return of the Jedi at the top.
That's a fair list. I'm not saying it's correct, but I would say it's fair.
I think that has a lot of happy ground. I think what I'll do for like our final episode is like I'll compile all of our lists and I'll make like an average list. So like, does that make sense? So like I'll take like the average of where they are in the spot and I'll make like an overall. I don't know what the word is. I hope I'm. Do you guys?
I think average sounds right.
Yeah.
I couldn't really decide which one goes first between the Rise of Skywalker and The Force Awakens. I kind of have them at the same place, but just because I watched Skywalker later and now it's strong in my mind right now, I did put it above The Force Awakens.
Well, with that, thank you everyone for listening to three people in a blanket fort talking about Star Wars. Second to last episode. Our next episode of this will be, again, Spaceballs. And we're going to have some fun with that episode. It's not going to be so much a review. We're just going to talk about the film, what we like, and maybe some other things. Our next episode is History and Hypotheticals, your fan favorite, with, and I think I can say this because we've set a date. Whether it happens or I shouldn't say anything. If you
it's
know
coming.
Spoilers. If you know who might be on, you know who will be on.
It's former President JFK.
You got
we
it.
We reanimated him just for this.
Just for this show. Anyone else want to say anything?
Not that I can think of.
All right. Well, with that note, everyone, for us, y'all have a good night. Have a good day. Just enjoy yourself. Don't watch this film. Watch something else.
This film.
Watch
only this film.
Watch the second half of this film.
Oh my
Just
gosh.
the second half.
The second half is my least
especially
favorite part
watch
of that
Revenge
film.
of the Sith.
I like the second half better than the first half.
Okay.
Go watch Revenge of the Sith, everybody.
Have a good night.
Or don't.
You choose.